All right, so we're going to do a real informal lesson for 2.1. We're going to be graphing sinusoids. So we're going to be graphing, let's start with y equals sine theta. So what we need to do is start by making a table of values. Theta is your input variable, and y is your output variable. So when we plug in inputs for theta, we're going to pick the quadrant boundaries from our unit circle. So remember your unit circle. We've got 1, 0, 0, 1, negative 1, 0, 0, negative 1. And this is 0 degrees, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270 degrees, 360 degrees. So the degrees is your theta that we're going to put in the input. So we've got 0 degrees, 90, 180, 270, 360. And that'll be one full circle, or once around the circle, which is called a cycle. Then we're going to find the y values at those points. So the y value at 0 is 0. And we're choosing y because it says y equals, but we're taking the sine, so we're choosing the y value because it's the sine number in this ordered pair. So if I was doing cosine, it would be 1, even though it's the x value. Because we're doing cosine, it's the x value. But so sine is 0, sine here is 1, sine of 180 is 0, sine of 270 is negative 1, sine of 360 is 0. So now we're going to take our table and we're going to plot those points on a xy coordinate system. So we've got a point at 0, 0. 90 degrees is at 1. We've got 180 degrees is at 0. 270 degrees is at negative 1. And 360 is at 0. If you want to label, this is your sine theta values, or y, and this is your theta values, your x-axis. And you connect these with a curve like this. And your curve should have arrows on the end because it does continue on past 360 degrees, and arrows in this direction as well because it does go to negative degrees as well. So that is your sine wave. All right, let's talk about domain and range. Domain for sine, since it goes in the negative direction and in the positive direction with arrows on the end, we can say that it has a domain of negative infinity to infinity. Range, the y values, we see that it has a point at negative 1, and it goes up to positive 1 for the y values. And we put brackets on the 1s because it can actually touch 1 and negative 1. There are actual filled in points there. Domain is infinities, and there are parentheses on that because you cannot actually touch infinity. So we've got y equals cosine theta now. So my theta values are still going to be 0, 90, 180, 270, 360. But this time my y values are going to be what y equals, which is cosine theta. So when we look at our unit circle, we can get these values. Cosine of 0 is 1. Cosine of 90 is 0. Cosine 180, negative 1. Cosine 270, 0. So we're going to have 1, 0, negative 1, 0, and then when you go back to 360, it's 1. We then take those y values and we plot them as ordered pairs. So we're going up 1, down 1. We've got 0, 90, 180, 270, 360. This is the theta axis. This is cosine theta. And you plot your points. 0 is at 1. 90 is at 0. 180 is at negative 1. 270 is at 0. 360 is at 1. Connect these with curves. Put arrows on the end because this does go more in the negative direction and more in the positive direction. We've got a domain of negative infinity to infinity because the arrows go in both directions. For range, we've got a y value of -1 to a y value of +1. Let's compare these graphs real quick before we finish the lesson. So when you're looking at a sine wave, we notice it starts at 0 and then it goes up. When you look at a cosine wave, we notice it starts at 1 and it goes down. Other than that, the graphs look the same. So they just start in different places, but they do rotate the same way, where they go up, then down, up, then down. So here we're up, down, up, down. So look the same, start in different places. Sine starts at 0, cosine starts at 1.